The Cadillac Champion trophy is this stripped down version of a golf swing. This story is from Adam E. Cross. He's saying there's this new facet of creating things online where immediately, if you can then use it as a prompt, people start to generate slop off of it. He actually in his video highlights this ballerina perfume bottle, a chair for a bird, and then people started responding with their own ones, like a chef, and how that gets you whatever this thing is. Then, of course, people started trolling. We have one which is like a toilet, but it's the Relevo. And then, of course, there were also critics of the actual trophy in the chat that I thought were funny, where it says, "Cool PS5, bro." And this is a PS5. This is the trophy that they have. Now, I really like the trophy. I like what it stands for. I think that there is something cool to stripping things down. I also think it's important to show your process. I know that over here, Adam is saying that it's kind of dangerous to share your process online because then people can replicate it so quickly with this stuff. But I don't know. Just because it can be exploited doesn't mean that you should stop doing the good thing, because I think that showing people your process shows that you are human and that you did think through these concepts. And also it's nice to be able to see how you got to a final form. Though I don't know how you put in protections for yourself from then essentially people just being able to steal the idea of process and then being able to mass scale it with AI Slop. It's just kind of something that you kind of have to be aware of. No watermark or crediting or anything is really going to prevent this from happening. Just know that when you're hopping into something, that this is now kind of a reality. The animated Face ID in these Apple Pay ads feels like Apple is training us for the new Siri.
Oh, so anywhere you see that symbol, you can tap to pay.
Now, that's not functionality that is currently present in any Apple product by any means. It's just a way of articulating it. But at the same time, there might be a new Siri on the horizon. Now, this isn't the first humanized form that we've seen this year. We also have reported about the little Finder guy, which is taking TikTok over by storm, which is also rumored to maybe be another form of Siri. This is a update from Brand Inquirer. You guys know I love to feature them. This is a highlight on the new Xbox logo. Game systems and consoles are really kind of in this growing pain moment. Xbox is actually this year in particular going through a really hard growing pain of trying to figure out what it is. They're doing this campaign saying this is an Xbox, this is an Xbox, this is an Xbox. People don't know if Xbox is going to survive. It might turn into a software thing. It might turn into a harder hardware thing where they have a specific product. It's kind of to be seen. Now, there is a new CEO of Microsoft, and they're planning to drop the Microsoft gaming name entirely, and they're consolidating that all under the Xbox brand. And with that, they've revealed this new logo. This new logo obviously still has the same form factor of the previous logos, but it has a new treatment that is kind of going back to the roots of the original Xbox controller. You can see that right when it started, they didn't really have this circular thing, but they've had the circular idea of the Xbox since 2005, and then they've iterated on it many times before, going completely flat in 2019, and then now bringing back this glass effect, which also we can kind of relate to the liquid glass that you can see in Apple design that has and hasn't really taken off. It's kind of still in this weird in-between phase, but it is interesting to see that this is like now going to be iterated. It also is very reminiscent of the idea of like see-through technology from the late 90s, which is also very popular right now. How do we feel about it? Do you guys like it? Going on to our last rebrand of the day, we have some updates from leaked icons about Google. This is coming from Code by NZ, and it says a big visual refresh is coming to Google Apps with the new icons that look cleaner and more distinct. Now, they have previously had this uniform idea. It's nice to see that they are now deviating away from that a little bit, because the whole point of having an icon and having something small and recognizable is so that at scale or when it's surrounded by its peers that you're able to tell which each one is. I got the idea and the motivation behind having this uniform color palette that was present in every icon, but from a use case and scalability perspective, it was just not effective. I'm not the biggest fan of maybe necessarily the designs of some of these, like the gradient on Google Sheets I think is ugly. The gradient on Google Chat I think is ugly. Like, I don't know why we're doing this blue to green situation. In instances like the Google Slides with the pink under here, I think that is a little prettier looking, and the Google Docs, there's some weird parts to it. Maybe it's a sheen, maybe it's having maybe an idea of glass while still being flat. There's things that I really like about it, and there's things I really don't like about it. So I think it's both successful and unsuccessful. This is going to be a short story, and I think that a lot of millennials will find it interesting. Vine is back today. There is a new Divine. Jack Dorsey is backing it, who is the original creator. He is also, the creator of Twitter. It says that a new project to bring back Vine's 6-second looping videos is now available for download. You can see that the new user interface looks a lot like TikTok or Reels or Shorts, where it is kind of focused on vertical, which I'm interested to see how that plays out, since it is traditionally a square format. And then you also have kind of this explore page where there's classics where you can look through the old ones. I am skeptical that this will go anywhere. I think that maybe Vine could have had a life. I think that it was shut down way too early. They needed to find a way out to monetize it. And then essentially all the other platforms came in and ate their lunch, and it was a big regret. But now 6 seconds, I just don't think will do it anymore. Now we are at a place where short form video is expected anywhere to be from 45 seconds to 60 seconds long. And I think if people are just limited to 6 seconds, we're not necessarily going to get it. Let's talk about platforms that people are on, though. So this is coming from Precisify. It was posted as an article covering it on TubeFilter, which is a really good news source for YouTube updates. This is from James Hale. It says that Gen Z and millennials consistently converge on YouTube, where they have better recall and find the best quality ads according to this new data. So it says that nearly 45% of both age groups spend between 30 and 60 minutes watching YouTube content each day. 11% of both age groups are long-time viewers watching between 2 and 2.5 hours content per day. 83% of Gen Z and 78% of millennials are using YouTube. And so this is beating every other platform for sheer audience size. If you are a video creator, whether it is short form video, whether it's long form video, if you're a photographer, make videos. That's all I can say. Make videos, because this is the place where audiences are going. It is the largest media company now. They passed Disney. You need to use YouTube. Everyone is on YouTube. That is where the audience is. That is where people see your content. This is coming from Sam Gattel from TubeFilter. YouTube's uninterrupted side-by-side live streaming ads are now starting to be tested out. This is a screenshot uploaded by the Reddit user PuffballOfficial12 to the YouTube. You can see that on the top here, there is a stream of sorts of Baldy off of a game, and you can see the chat here. But on the bottom, there is a sponsored ad that pops up. And so what's happening here is YouTube is testing a new ad format that reinforces the platform's mission to make its live streams more seamless. And they're having the side-by-side ads that show ads in a separate loaded video player that pops up directly below the active stream. That way, the ad break can still run without having to interrupt the stream. Let's talk about Instagram Instants real quick. So this isn't available in America yet. It's something that is expected to probably come to America, I'm guessing, but it is the Snapchat clone that Instagram launched last week. It's called Instants, and as you might expect, it says that it is letting users share disappearing photos with their friends that can be viewed only once and are only available for 24 hours. There is no editing allowed, which is where this differs a little bit from Snapchat, because Snapchat, you can have edits and filters and things that you put on top of the video itself. For this new Instagram instance, the only thing that you can modify in any way is adding text. Anything beyond that is inaccessible, and you cannot edit at all. You cannot upload things from your computer. You cannot upload things from your camera roll. You cannot put on a color adjustment. It is supposed to be click and send. Now, it's linked directly to Instagram in the same way that Threads is linked to Instagram in a way. But the thing that's interesting is you're not having different follower lists, because when there was Threads, there was its own vertical where you can follow people and not follow people. This is saying that you can only send instants to mutual followers and your close friends list, which is shared across the Instagram and Instant apps. So meaning that your Instagram is your core home base, but it's then being used over here with instants from Instagram to then be your friend list. You can also look back at your month. So I guess it saves it to your device. And so you'll be able to then see it, and you'll be able to see the reactions that people send to it. But this is not available as far as everyone else. This is how the internet kind of works in a circle. So the internet works in a circle in the way that like we're back to chat rooms again somehow, except it's a new form of chat room. Meta is adding a new live chat feature to Threads for NBA playoffs and major events. It's not just a straight up chat room. It is instead kind of like a live chat experience that other people can drop in on. You can have both things that you can join it and people can hop in, or you can have ones where you have limited number of people. So it's not going to be tied to sports only, but they're kind of testing the NBA playoffs with being able to use it. This is coming from Aaron Pruner at CNET. CNET. It can be used for sports, but also can be used for things like highly anticipated albums. There will be polls, countdowns, live scores, and other real-time options. This is a way that you could maybe bring your friends together, or if you are in a collective of professionals, analysts, you could bring something up and you could launch something. If you're launching something for your company or your personal project, you have a video coming out, this could be a way to bring everything together so that people can then go and watch it play out in real time. I think it's a great idea. I think more services should have something like this, just because this is a form of, like, I'm trying to experience two screens when I'm watching a live event that's really big. It could even be a big news story. For example, like the Artemis landing back on Earth. I was in 4 or 5 different group chats of people. We were all sending back and forth all the different links and videos and things. And if that could all be singular into something, and maybe that was even coming from NASA and analysts there, then it could all be in a single feed. So it's really interesting. I'm not a big basketball person. I probably still will check it out just to see how the functionality of it works, but I do think it's really a cool feature. David Ellison is taking a page from TikTok's playbook. This is saying that now Paramount is including a vertical video aspect into their app, and this will help you go and see repurposed snippets from shows like South Park and the Madison to be able to then get the attention of people to maybe check out a new show that they weren't going to otherwise see. They're saying that they hope that short form clips will help users discover new shows and movies and increase engagement. It is also kind of following the idea that Disney Plus and Peacock have also added short form video feeds, and Netflix is also doing the same. And it'll be interesting because they're planning to add interactive features like sports stats and polls. There's 2 different stories in this one of which was a newsletter that Allison Rogers forwarded to me right before I went to bed, like last week or so, and I read it, and then I just tossed and turned all night because I didn't know what to make of it. It was from the newsletter Garbage Day by Ryan Broderick, and he said, what happens when the short form video bubble pops? He is bringing up this idea of clipping. So you can see here on Business Insider, they're saying that elite clippers are earning big paychecks by helping podcasters and live streamers stay in your social feed. The marketing, which is a practice of when you're taking things and you're getting paid to take a clip from the video and make it into short form content. There are people who are making tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars per month clipping this content. Going back to Ryan Broderick's article, though, he's talking about how the fact that people are making tens of thousands of dollars off of clipping other people's content is the idea that we are at peak short form video. Now, his argument is that now we are at a peak where there is so much short form, both being generated by content creators to pay people to clip, people who just clip by default, people who are doing AI generated clips, people who are making AI generated content as vertical video, and everything is just like vertical. Ryan's argument is that as soon as you can label something as a hype cycle, like it is the beginning of the end, he doesn't make an argument as to what comes next. He just says, this is just what I'm seeing. Like I couldn't have predicted things from there. My argument against that is like, we are stuck in this rectangle right now because it's taking up the full screen and it's giving you audio. It's giving you sometimes no audio with subtitles. It is taking the most use of this vertical form. I do not see that going anywhere until there is a new form factor. And I know we've talked about different creators and being able to create things for, like, I don't know, glasses that we might have that might have heads up display. When that happens, yes. If there's something in your house that displays something differently than like it's not a TV, but it's not a screen, it's like a hologram or something, that, yes, I can see it all changing. But until that happens, I don't think that the bubble can burst because I don't think that anything can go from there. This is both a spotlight and a resource. It is a creator called Cover Junkie. It's also a service, I believe. They post different magazine covers each week for ones that are really interesting on the front of magazines. They do a really good job not only highlighting the thing itself and why it is interesting, what the article is kind of pointing towards, but also it does a really great job of pointing out design directors, pointing out photographers, illustrators, the creative director, different people that all came together to make something. One that really stood out for me from this week's 15 covers that hit differently is this All Ouch. It is for Volkskrant magazine, which I had not heard about, and it's all about a man who just keeps falling and somebody that just keeps getting hurt. So they kind of wrapped the idea in this medical gauze. They have these little clips, and then it's kind of obscuring the owl behind it, which I guess in like German, this is how you say owl, which is always funny that, you know, cows say moo in English, but they say different things in different languages. Always find that funny. But you can see the photo editor was Heike Golker, but then also had editor-in-chief and art director down here. here as well. And then just a cute one of Pedro Pascal, which, it looks like he's hunching into the form and being able to fit into this box and stay out of the way of the top of the poster, which a lot of posters will kind of go over top of it, like over here in like Popular Mechanics. You can see they're cutting out of it, but in here it's really interesting that they have him up against a color that is also very similar to his skin tone, then using the visual bike of kind of an arrow that goes up to his face. They also are using this white side to then design a design element that pops out to have his name. This is really hard to see. I don't know if I love that, but I guess it's not that important. What you're interested in is the name of the magazine, the person, and their name. And so this is from Man Fantastic, and Ethan James Green took it. And the cropping is interesting. The lighting is interesting. They have that really bright photo flash vibe to it, or you can see like the shine on his arm, which I guess makes his arm also looks bigger. But then they have a full archive, coverjunkie.com, and they just regularly update all different magazines. There's a subscription to it. I don't know how much it costs, but the 15 covers that hit different is free. One last spotlight we have of the day is this manufacturer that is creating coffee cups that you can spin. This is the idea of being able to repurpose the things that make the coffee cup not hot in your hand. They have repurposed this as a design element that's interactive to be able to then cycle through and have different elements. In their example, they're using a face, and you can see here that they have multiple different faces and this kind of die cut circle that then goes around and that you can then set to, and then maybe you take a picture of or a video of and you post it on your socials, and that's free marketing. You can actually buy these cups and you can put your own designs on here, and they have different cuts that you can use to then cut out. Like I said, I have not ordered from them. I have not spoken to anyone who's ordered from them. This is not an endorsement. This is just something that I found really interesting. And I was like, oh, that's a really cool way to take something that you're going to have anyway of kind of paper waste and then being able to repurpose it to then also have it complement your brand. Because the other thing is when you take that paper waste of the warmer and you put it over top, then normally it's just a brown thing that puts on. It covers up your logo. It covers up the brand identity. This is a cool way to still be able to have your brand front and center and also good for a picture and also personable while also still having the functionality that it has. The contestants for Font of the Week this week are Tarif, Snaga Unicase Display, and Caesura. And with a 47% vote, the winner belongs to Caesura. Caesura is our font of the week, and this is from Black Foundry. This is a beautiful font that is a high contrast display typeface. It says it's merging found lettering styles from mid-century European signage and Japanese calligraphy. It's available in a single weight, so this one doesn't give you as much flexibility. It's just one thing through and through. But that said, it has a lot of really cool factors to it. Since this is only one weight, I would say you probably only want to do something like this for maybe headlines or decoration, because you're not going to have any of the flexibility to be able to switch it if you want something else. You're going to have to use another typeface as a complement to it by default. So you don't want to use this and be like, this is for everything, because then everything is just one weight, and that can be really hard on visual hierarchy, legibility, and more. So this is maybe something that you just use for something that is exciting and big. And then of course, using a secondary font for everything else. It has refined proportions, has subtle details. It makes it perfect for editorial content, branding, and user interfaces where a sophisticated typographic voice is desired. It came from Ben Hartley and Solin Bordeaux. Caesura is a font family from Black Foundry, and it is a member of the Type Founders collection. They have some really good ligatures here, which are connecting, and they're very kind of subtle, but very pretty. So, the G to the Y is cool here. I always think that these are ugly. Some people love them. I'm sure typographers are going to foam at the mouth when they hear me say that, but I do not like these. But then you have cool, weird connections like FTJ, which I don't know a word with FTJ side by side, but you know what? It's capable if you want it there. Things like FT do make sense because, soft or something. So this will be placed in our Hall of Fame, which is available on the Raindrop. You can get into that link. I'm Ryan Selvy. Thank you very much for being here, and have a good rest of your day. Thank you.